Good and gracious God, open our hearts and our minds to hear whatever message it is that we need to hear this day. We give thanks, O God, that you are our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. Well, in the days of the early church, a candlelight service was held on Epiphany Eve, on January 5th, and not on December 24th, Christmas Eve. Because believers for a long time have had a special place in their heart for the story of the Magi traveling to see the Christ child. We read how the wise men followed the star, a great light in the sky. And no matter whether the details are historically accurate or not, we do see the emphasis that is placed on the importance of light. Matthew's gospel refers to the Magi, who were foreigners that we think were from Persia, which would be today's Iran. Now, these foreigners were gifted in astrology, fortune-telling, dream interpretation, even did some magic. They were probably not kings at all, but rather advisors who served the courts of their rulers. Now, in the translation we read today, it refers to them as wise men. But I suspect that in this particular instance, people may not have seen them as wise, but really as foolish. Imagine, they set out from their homes to follow a strange apparition in the sky. Maybe a star, maybe a planet, maybe a comet. We don't know, but whatever it was, these starry-eyed astrologers saw it, and they believed it to be a sign of the birth of the King of the Jews. Now, why they were interested in the birth of the King of the Jews is really anybody's guess. Their heritage was most likely Persian. They were not Israelites. And their religion was probably not Jewish. And why would mid-level government service workers travel hundreds, maybe thousands of miles through the desert, maybe on the back of a camel, searching for a boy king of a different heritage, a different faith, in a place ruled by a different empire? What could have compelled those foolish wise men to set out on such a journey towards the unknown? Perhaps it was the light in the sky that called to them, because we know humans love light. Even today, we're fascinated by light. Across the different cultures, we celebrate major events with what? Fireworks on the outside, and indoors we light candles. And when that first fireworks shoots up in the air and it explodes with brilliant light, the whole crowd gets excited, don't we? And people everywhere react the same way to that colorful explosion of light in the sky. Across all the various cultures, we all go, ooh, ah. What is that? Is that some sort of universal response? Oohing and eyeing? Perhaps it's that all humans are made in the image of God. And on some level, we recognize that spark of light is God. And God is woven into the very fabric of our being. When we see brilliant lights in the sky, we feel a sense of connection. Even children are drawn to light. Put a candle on a table, and a kid barely notices it. But when you light the candle, the child's eyes become bright and alert. They're watching, they're waiting. And as adults, we don't lose our appreciation of light. We are enthralled with the light of a full moon. We love to witness a night sky full of stars. We seek the northern lights. We follow meteor showers. We watch for eclipses. Now, recent research suggests, get this, that even individuals who are diagnosed with total blindness are often able to perceive light in some non-visual manner. I don't even know how that would work. But to various degrees, we know that all humans are wired to connect to light. So we read from the prophet Isaiah, "Those who walk in darkness, arise, shine, your light has already come. The glorious presence of God is already upon you." These words acknowledge the people's connection to light, and these words were written to people during what was called the Babylonian captivity. And these people had every reason to give up. They had seen their towns, their lands, their temple, their homes reduced to rubble, and they had been forced into exile. Life as they knew it was totally destroyed. Where do we see that happening today? It reminds me of the people of Los Angeles who are facing things being destroyed, things being complete rubble. But it was even worse back in the days of Isaiah because there was no government to support them, no community. These people were taken captive and they had absolutely no support. But God speaks to the people through the words of Isaiah, telling them to persevere, to rise, to shine, to lift their heads that were hanging in despair, and to know that God has been with them and will always be with them. So what relevance do these words of God have for us thousands of years later? I think that we can all relate to the experience of being in darkness. Because I don't know anyone who hasn't lived through at least a depressing time in their life. And there are plenty of life circumstances that can trigger some degree of depression within all of us. The loss of a loved one, the loss of a pet, the loss of independence, or health issues, or stress related to work, or family issues, or a difficult personal relationship. Certainly we know that the pandemic caused all of us to experience some degree of anxiety and depression. And we know that isolation and illness and grief negatively impact our mental and our physical health. We often feel stuck, and yet we resist change. Isn't that interesting? We feel stuck, but then we do everything we can to avoid changing. The Magi followed the light, confident that it would lead to someone who was born to change the world. And we too, like those travelers of so long ago, desire to find hope. We want to follow the light. But unlike the Magi, we don't saddle up our camels and follow a bright light in the sky. At least I wouldn't recommend it. So how do we follow the light? We seek out God. We seek out people and places and resources that will help us be our best selves. Simply put, following the light is acknowledging the God-given light within you. And then, like the Magi, being willing to embrace something new. I look around this room, and we are all in different seasons of our lives, and we know that each season, each chapter brings different challenges and different realities. We might be tempted to say things to ourselves like, well, I'm older now, and my life is in a nice holding pattern. I'm content with the way things are. Or if you're in your middle years, you might tell yourself, I'm so busy with work and with family commitments, I'm not looking for one more thing. Or if you're in an early season of your life, you might feel like, I have all I can do to just establish a life. I don't have room for anything more. But the truth is we are always growing, evolving, becoming new people, regardless of our age or what chapter of life we're in. We are not meant to become stale or overwhelmed or close-minded. So as we begin 2025, ask yourself, what truth is tugging at your heart? What courage is welling up in your bones? What opportunity is knocking at your door? What love is ready to be explored? What area of your life do you need God's saving love to enter into? What are you waiting to say yes to in spite of all the reasons you could say no? Imagine if during our own struggles with darkness, we could recall the words of Isaiah, "Rise, shine, your light has already come." My friends, we too can find strength and comfort in these very ancient words. Even when we have to journey through darkness, we can remember that God's divine spark resides within each one of us, and then we can find the strength to move forward. Last week, some of you were here, and you might remember that my message focused on what could you let go of? What baggage could you put down? Well, today I'm wondering, in this season of Epiphany, in this first few weeks of the new year, what is one thing that you could say yes to? As we begin 2025, what's something you could learn? What's something you could join? What's a relationship you could be open to? Is there a friendship that you could put more energy into? Could you go somewhere? Is there a decision that you could make? What call is God placing on your life? I don't know what it is for you because it's individual for each one of us, isn't it? But here's what I do know. You don't need to be a king or a queen. You don't need to be wise in the eyes of the world. All you have to do is keep your eyes searching for the stars. Keep your ears attuned to the songs of the angels, and keep your heart open to the movement of the Spirit. And then when God signals, do not be afraid to rise up and to follow God's lead. For we too, my friends, are people who have seen a great light. Let it be so. Amen.